Hi everyone, Jennifer here with another process video to share with you today. I'm going to start by showing you the papers that I'm using for this layout. They're by Little Yellow Bicycle and the collection is called Fern and Forest. I'm showing you there that it's from 2012, so it is a little bit of an older collection. I just find that I'm using a lot of stuff from my stash lately that is older, and it just feels good because I still really like it. Those are the photos that I'll be scrapbooking today. And these are some of the paper embellishments that I pulled. You'll probably recognize these. They're also older. They're from My Mind's Eye, the Wild Asparagus collection, and I'm showing you there that they're from 2005. I've gone ahead and inked the edges on them a little bit already. So I'm going to start by inking the edges of these photo mats. These are what I'm going to mat my photos with, this orange pattern paper. And I had already inked them a little bit but decided to add a little bit more. So for New Year's Day, my husband's side of the family would always go bowling, and that's my son, who was probably about 5 in those pictures. He's now 24, so they're older photo prints, film prints. So I can't even really put the date on these pages because I'm not sure. I can kind of guess or approximate his age. So I'm going to start by laying down these 2 strips of paper that I cut, that I inked the edges on, and I'm going to layer them on top of each other on the left of the layout. I really like the colors in this paper collection. And now I'm going to put this card in the middle of the page. It says amusement, and then it just underneath has 2 definitions. One says engaging in an activity for entertainment, and the second one says recreation. And if you look closely, you can see that I've stitched with my sewing machine just a couple of messy lines under the word amusement. And I just thought that the definition on this card was perfect for the photos that I'm using on the page. I'm using my ruler and my mat that I scrapbook on to line up and make sure I have everything straight. Sometimes I ink around the edges of things, sometimes I sew, sometimes I draw a line with my marker, and sometimes I don't at all. It just depends on the look that I'm going for and the feel of the papers. I'm going to stick this word play up in the corner there, and I decide that I need another embellishment up there with it. So I've used this particular pattern paper, as you can see, and cut and punched a lot of things out of it that are going to end up being used as embellishments scattered around the page. So I'm just cutting out a star here, and I'm going to jump ahead so that you don't have to watch me cut the whole thing out. And I'm going to ink the edges of it, and I'm just going to glue it up there in that top cluster that I've started behind the word play. And then just to create a little bit of interest, I'm going to pop that circle up on foam tape so that it pops up off the page a little bit. So that's the beginning of one cluster up there. I don't really have any rules that I like to stick by as far as how many clusters I use on a page or making sure I do things in 3s. I do like to try to incorporate all of the colors that I'm using on the layout in the clusters if I can. So here starts another cluster. And I've taken the piece that I cut this or punched this word play out of. You know, when you use older products, I like to try to come up with creative ways to use them to bring them up to date a little bit more. So then this word games, I'm going to layer over the frame, and I've also sewn 2 messy lines under the word games. I stitch on most of my layouts in one way or another. Sometimes it's quite a bit of stitching, and sometimes it's just a little bit. Sometimes a little bit is all you need. So here's another one of the stars that I've cut out from that decorative paper, and I'm going to pop it up and put it in that lower cluster there. Yeah, I like how that looks. Here I'm going to start putting down my title, and these are letters from a die by Little B, and the die is called Blockout. I know most of you would probably have used stickers, but I use my alphabet dies a lot. I cut a lot of them out on my silhouette, and I just have a lot of the metal dies. So I think I didn't have any stickers that were the right color, or I might have used stickers. But I like how that turned out. Here you're going to see me pull over some little pieces that I've punched and cut out of that decorative paper again. I have a couple of different size circles and a bunch of the smaller stars, and I've gone around and inked the edges on all of them, even though they're small. I just felt like to carry a consistency through the page, they needed to have the edges inked as well. They looked too plain and blended in with the paper too much when the edges were not inked. So what you're going to see me do here is just place them all. I'm just going to sprinkle them down the page to the right of the photos randomly, and I like how I get it the first time, so I don't even really move them around once I get them all laid down. And I am going to jump ahead so that you don't have to watch me glue them all down. But I just like how the different shapes, the stars and the circles, add some interest to the page. And I do this a lot when there's a paper that has certain elements that look cute cut out. I love cutting up paper and using it to embellish my page. So there we go. I've got them all placed, and I'm going to go ahead and start gluing them all down. I'm just using my tweezers and a glue pen. There we go. And then I decided that at this point, all that's on the page, everything is paper. So I went into my stash and pulled these wood veneer stars. They came in a past Felicity Jane kit, and they were the only stars that I had. But I ended up really liking them because they're a little bit of a different style from the other stars on the page. So I think it just added some more interest. It's a little bit more pleasing to the eye than having just more of the same filled in style of star. So I'm going to put one at the bottom right cluster. I'm going to start a small cluster there on that amusement card. And I'm a little bit out of frame, so you can't see the top cluster, but I added the third wood veneer star up there. So then I decide that I need to pull in some more of these little round elements, so I just punch out and ink up a few more to add to that left cluster. Then I'm going to go ahead and get the wood veneer stars glued down because I like where I have them all placed. And then the last thing that I'm going to add to this page are some candy dots. They're by Stampin' Up. They're similar to enamel dots, but they're all the same size, which is a good size. They're not too big and they're not too small. And they have more of a matte finish. They're not shiny. And they come in 3 different color combinations. So if you haven't ever seen these from Stampin' Up, if you have a demonstrator, you might want to check them out because I really like them a lot. I use enamel dots too, but I really like the size of these and all the different colors that are available. It just seems like whenever I need one to match, there's one there. So this is going to wrap up my layout, and there's a still shot at the end. To see more of my layouts, I'd love for you to visit my Facebook page, which I'll include a link in the information below. If you enjoyed my video, I'd love for you to like it and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next one. Have a great day, and I'll be back soon.